few controls on the SimTouch. So we're here in Kennedy International Airport, runway 4 right. Just a few things we'll go to first. Our lights. So navigation, strobe, my panel light on, wings, landing lights, belts, and cabin. Just so I remember my nav 1 button, I want to put in the VOR frequency for this particular runway, which is 109.10. Okay, so you can see coming in there the magenta CDI needle, so that would be the correct frequency. Okay, autopilot. I'm going to do a left circuit, climb to 5,000 feet. My auto throttle arms, I want to put speeds around 250, so I can demonstrate without having to concentrate too much on the speed. Okay, so as I release my finger from the increment button, you can see it changing there in the cockpit. Hold on, heading about 44 degrees. And my heading is on. Okay. So flaps, do 20 degrees of flaps. It's about 7400. So that's 4 stages of LED lights. Green LED for each stage. That is applied. Okay. Yeah, everything's fine on autopilot. All my lights are on, which is fine. I'm happy with the radio frequencies. Okay. So, on we go. And as we climb out and go to autopilot, we can start talking about other features in the SimTouch. So SimTouch is true synchronization both ways, from Flight Simulator to SimTouch. And that means if you were to start a mission in mid-air or a flight in mid-air, all controls, radio frequencies, light switches, landing gear, pretty much every control would automatically synchronize with SimTouch, so you don't have to set it. And in the miscellaneous section there's also a synchronize button in the event that it didn't synchronize correctly. So that would be quite unlikely, because as we tap to each section it automatically synchronizes. So down here in the turquoise colour we have the speed changing. The magenta colour we have the altimeter readout, and the orange colour here we have our actual heading. Okay, let's try and get off here. It will be quite close to the edge of the runway. Okay, so what we got? Ease back a bit on that throttle. So gear up, sorry, demonstrate that again. Landing gear up. I'm going to go straight to autopilot, so speed on and autopilot. Okay. So when we climb to our 5,000 feet, we'll hear the tone for altitude reached, which the sound comes from the SimTouch device itself. Just take up some stages of flaps here and speaking to you. Okay, that's one stage up. So other sounds that are built into SimTouch that come out of the speaker in SimTouch will be minimum call outs on landing, overspeed and stall. Okay, so now we're climbing up at an altitude of 1,800 or 900 feet. I want to turn to a heading of 310 degrees. Just want to do a left circuit and come back and land on runway 4 right. Okay, so around we go. Now, let's see where I'm going. Okay. So it's dawn and the weather is fine here in New York. And I just want to go over GPS. Now the way GPS works is very, very straightforward. It's a mimic of the GPS as we bring up the window in Flight Simulator. So basically all the buttons on the GPS of Flight Simulator are here on SimTouch and we can control them. For example, zoom out. Nearest airports. Scroll through them and back. Add cursor. Down and back up. Clear all. Pretty much clears everything. So a bit more there to see where I am. Okay. Plenty of time. I'll wait till I go across the river there. You've got your terrain button. Take that off. Program button. You're quite familiar with all these controls. They're exactly the same. So clear that. Okay, so you've got your message button, your flight plan button, and the menu button. And clear is just to clear, and clear all is to clear everything. Okay, that's our altitude reach there at 5,000 feet. And you can see we're pretty much bar the usual fluctuated. We're 0 and 0 with the cockpit, not climbing at all. Okay, we're just approaching the river. Now, autopilot, ATC allows us to control full air traffic control, including multiplayer online using the talk button, or talk all, which is to talk to all aircraft. And then we have the multiplayer chat button that can be brought up in Pacific online servers. So we can click like show 1 for tuning into. Okay, I didn't need to do that, so say 3 for nearest airports, etc, etc. So if we want to go back, we press 0. Okay, so we're actually going to use that to land, because it most likely brings us on the opposite runway that we want to land on, which will be 4 right. Okay, we'll start turning soon. Keep this as tight as we can and as short as we can on the flight. Okay, so I'm going to turn to a heading of 220 degrees, which will bring me onto a left downwind leg for runway 4 right. That should be okay if I do it now. That's 220. Oh, a little bit fast there. Now, so as we're turning there into a heading, as you can see changing here in the orange colour, and get a bit more view of the cockpit there. Now the engine section will show on ground, but basically if it's 4 engine aircraft, SimTouch knows it's 4 engines and gives the appropriate buttons for 4 engines, 3 engines, 2 engines and 1 engine for single aircraft. So we've got auto starters for each of the engines. We've got a fuel cut, which I won't demonstrate now, or will be installed. Pump, battery, the ALT button is your alternator generator. So 1 for each engine there. APU generator, dump is to dump fuel. Push for pushback from the gate or wherever. APU and battery. So you can do a complete shutdown from SimTouch, and we've our auto ice. Not that we need it today. Jumping into the miscellaneous section, we've view. The view button basically changes our view each time we press it.